Welcome back to the channel, guys. So this will be part 2 on the Ford Transit Mark 7. We're going to do the front discs, pads, new bearings, and we're going to do it all at home. So yeah, stay tuned if you're interested in this sort of thing at home. It's not VW related, but you know, it's still a cool surf van. Let's get to it. Okay, so first things first, don't pay any attention to these because I've had the mag wheel on and the mag wheel hole's too small to get the socket on. So I've had to put the original wheel back on to undo the bolt. But anyway, don't worry about any of that. So the first job you're going to do basically to change the front discs and the bearing and all the other bits and pieces is we have to get this nut off. You can see it's got a split pin in there, so we need to remove the split pin with a pair of pliers, which I didn't bring, so I better go and get them. So a pair of pliers to undo this split pin. We're not going to use it again, so you can be sort of rough getting it out, I suppose. A little bit of a tap. There we go. Take off the little locking nut, and that's going to expose the nut that we've got to remove. Now I'm just going to put a little bit of penetrating fluid on that, and let's go and get our breaker bar and loosen off this nut. We have our 36 Right, so nut's loose, jack it up and we can get the wheel off. Okay, so the next thing now is we're going to remove the caliper and just hang it off I just used a piece of welding wire. So we'll undo these 2 bolts here, and then we can also get the carrier off as well, because we're going to make that look trick like the other side. 15mm spanner to undo these top ones. And of course, that's going to be that way. That's one. Caliper off. Just give it a wriggle. And just be careful not to hang it off the brake line or let it drop, otherwise you'll do damage. This one's definitely a bit outside. There we go. And then we're just going to run that wire through the bolt hole there. Just make sure that is hanging. I'll just bring it over here for the time being, like so. Now we want to take the shoes out. They've still got a bit of meat on them, but we're going to put new ones on anyway. Now we want to take the carrier off as well, and I think that one is a 18. Now this one's going to be pretty solid. These ones do normally have Loctite on them, so see how we go with this. Yeah, they're tough, all right. Yeah, those ones are tough. Got that little tutor bar here. Let's see if we can buzz these guys out. Okay, that's the carrier out. We'll go and give him a sandblast and give him a good clean up and paint. I like doing that. Right, so next thing, we'll come around to the front here. So next thing, and with varying successes, I'm just going to put a bit of WD-40 on these guys. And we're going to see if we can just buzz these ones out. Yep. So those ones are a 13mm. And they're coming out quite easy. Okay. And next we've got to get the torques that are inside these little holes, which is this one here. Same deal again. I actually modified this one because it wasn't quite long enough. You can see I just had to shave down the collar, because for some reason no one's got that size that we need. Now what we need to do now is grab a torch so we can look in the holes and make sure that we've got it home. So we're just going to shine inside, rotate it until we can look in through the hole here, and you can see just inside there you can see the T50 Torx bit. So we're going to put that little tool in and see how we go removing them. And there we go. So again, I think because we don't have salt on our roads here in Australia, we don't have this rust problem where a lot of things get seized up. So that came out very, very easy indeed. Let's go for the next one. I'm just going to make sure he... That's all right, it'll come out. Go to the next one. And I think that's all of them out. Okay, they're all out. They're just kind of stuck in there, but that's fine. Next thing is we're just going to get this hub off, and we'll just have to give it a bit of a tap with the dead blow hammer, and it should come off without any troubles. Let's see how we go. The axle. And this is where we will hang this over to here, get it out of the way. And there we go. There is the hub removed. Now, try and drop all these bolts out. Okay. Now the next part is removing the disc off the hub. Now on the other one, all I did is actually gave it a bit of a crack, put a bit of WD-40 in this crack here, and I just whacked it with the nylon hammer again. And because we are replacing this bearing anyway, that's not too bad. I thought it was making a whining noise, but it doesn't seem like it is, but we're going to replace them anyway. We'll have to cut these off unfortunately, but anyway, we're just going to knock that straight through and that'll take the disc off, because we do need to replace the disc. So now we're out. So there's the old disc. We'll throw him away. And there is our hub. And yeah, it's pretty stiff actually. So the next job we've got to do is remove this bearing off the hub, because we're going to keep the hub, and unfortunately, this is what I had to do on the other side, was cut the thing in half with a grinder, because there was no way in the world I could get it off. And I even tried using the press, and the press did not like it at all, trying to remove it. So yeah, we're just going to chop through it with a grinder and do the same thing. Let's go and take it up to the bench. Okay, so what I've done is just made a cut you can see straight down through the hub on the angle there. Hopefully that will relieve the pressure enough for me to use the press here and push it out. Let's see how we go with this. Alright, we've got it in the vise, and we're just going to try and push those bolts through and try and drive the bearing out. This could be an explosion, so I am standing back behind a split screen door. No idea what's going to happen. That did not like that at all, and I think the pins just started bending. Yes, they did. Wow. Okay. Back to the grinder. Okay, so that's what's left. That's what's left of the bearing. You have to cut it on an angle with the grinder, and then of course it leaves the races and the bearings, and then I'm just using this puller to pull off the races. I'm sure there's other ways to do it. My press just didn't work. It ended up bending some of the parts. So, but this is working, so you'll have a look here. Woohoo! And there it goes. So that one's off. Now, the problem is this second one, you got nothing to grab onto. So how I got this one off is I just put a very small cut here and then whacked it with a cold chisel, and it actually broke off. So we'll try and give that a crack as well. So you can see what I did. I just put a very small cut here, and that was enough just to crack it. And now you can see it'll just pop straight off like that. So just a very small cut. You can see the actual metal cracked, and that was enough to fatigue it. And we're good to go. So now we can get this thing all cleaned up and press on. Then we're going to sandblast this and paint it, and sandblast that part, get it all ready, press the new bearing on. Let's go. Okay, so you can see here we have attached the disc to the hub with those 13mm bolts, and then we've also put in the Torx ones to put the back hub onto the back there. And of course now we've got our nice red caliper and red caliper bracket, which, you know, as we all know, gives you another 30 horsepower, and we're going to stick that on now as well. Let's get the mat here so we're not bending ourselves on the ground. We're going to put the caliper bracket on first. We're going to put a little bit of blue Loctite on these ones because they did have that on there already. And we'll just pop them halfway in. Okay, now next is pads. We're going to get some new pads to put on. Oh, actually we do want to, before we do that, take these little boots off, and we're going to just double check, put a bit of copper grease on these guys. Not that they need them, but just probably a good idea to do it. Now we will go and grab the brake pads. I'm pretty sure these don't have our little wear sensor, so we can cut that off. Yeah, there's pretty much no plug for, or is there? There's a wear sensor there. No, doesn't look like it. Okay, we'll chop that off. Don't need it. Okay, so that one, it goes on the back. Like so. This one goes on the front. And now we need to get the calipers pushed back in, and I've got that special tool for that. Okay, got our little, let's pop this over like so. Okay, so we've popped them. Now, hopefully, they're in enough. I think they should be. We can now release our little hook up the top here. And hopefully, fingers crossed, we're good to go. Like so. Now, we need to put some more Loctite on there. Okay, so that is that. Now all we have to do is put the wheel back on, tighten up this nut, and then put our little split pin and this little guy here. I don't even know what that's called. I suppose it's just a little locker to stop the nut from coming off. And the job is done. All right, guys. Well, thanks for stopping in on the Ford Transit front disc and rotor change and bearings and all that jazz. I'll see you in the next video. We've got some other Ford Transit stuff coming with this, some other mods, and yeah, we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for all the new subscribers too.